They were shot on their first date. They've since gotten married, and on Monday, the woman who pulled the trigger, a tribal wildlife officer, was sentenced to prison. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle.
I have mixed feelings. I was hoping for a little longer.
It's been going for a long time, and I'm just glad that the day is finally here, and I appreciate the judge.
Chad and Chelsea Young were on a first date back in 2022, driving an ATV near the Uinta and Ouray Reservation in eastern Utah. That's when they were stopped by Wanika Rosebud Cornpeach, a wildlife officer for the tribe.
We can go back and look at what she was thinking or what she did.
Greg Skortis is Cornpeach's attorney.
But it was wrong.
When the couple tried to drive away, Cornpeach shot each of them in the back. This is video taken after the shooting.
We got married August 17th, and we were shot on July 17th, and then our court date is November 17th.
The couple married 2 years after being shot.
Kind of bonded forever after that. She said she wanted to go on another date with me, and
His brother was texting me while I was in the hospital, and I asked him how Chad was doing, and he said he was doing good, and I said, well, I hope he still wants a second date.
Cornpeach earlier this year pleaded guilty to assault charges. In court Monday, federal prosecutor Brian Dunn noted Cornpeach provided first aid after the shooting. He asked for 2 years in prison, saying this was not a reasonable use of force by law enforcement. But attorneys for the Youngs argued their clients could have been killed, and 2 years wasn't enough. Judge Howard Nielsen agreed. He sentenced Cornpeach to 3 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release, though he also gave her credit for 4 months she's already served in jail.
I think all in all, it was a fair sentence and something that Wanika is prepared to serve, and she's apologetic and will remain apologetic for everything that she's done here.
she did what she did, and I have a lot of opinions that I won't state on air.
It's hard to talk about it, but we're just getting through it. And
The Youngs still have a civil lawsuit pending against Cornpeach and the tribe.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. And we're going to start our day out talking about the fuzz like we do every day. This fuzz here, Fuzzy Wuzzy, was a cop. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no crop. He wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Oh, yes, he is. He's just like all the other fuzzies. They do the same thing all the time. And many of them look just like this guy. You know, like a thumb wearing an orange shirt. Jasper County, Missouri, a former police officer accused of violent attack of a Joplin attorney pleaded not guilty and asked the court to withdraw the arrest warrant. Good luck with that. Bradley McDonald, age 55, is charged with first-degree assault of a special victim. Police say he repeatedly punched attorney Terrence Prigmore in the head. Oh, Terrence. You don't let sweaty thumbs get the best of you ever. Even if your name is Terrence, you have to stand up for yourself. Court documents say McDaniel also threw Prigmore against the wall during the assault. It all happened during a child custody mediation meeting last week. Wow. Prigmore initially refused treatment, but was later treated for a head injury, according to the probable cause statement. A warrant was issued for McDaniel's arrest and said he was to be held without bail. Whoa. McDaniel arranged for attorney Scott Pearson to represent him prior to Wednesday's arraignment and arrest. Pearson filed a motion to set aside the warrant issued for McDaniel's arrest. The motion says the court entered the arrest warrant knowing the complaining witness was Terrence Prigmore. Okay. The attorney goes on to argue that the court is friends with Mr. Prigmore on multiple social media sites. In this aspect, Pearson is referring to Judge Nicole Carlton. She was the first judge assigned to the case. Okay, so Prigmore's known throughout the town. Carlton has a history of setting high bail amounts or holding defendants without bail, regardless of who the defendant is. Well, he got very unlucky, didn't he? It was also a friend of Prigmore's. That's even more unlucky. Okay, McDaniel, you made it on the Bad Apple Report. You're lucky. Thanks for being here, folks. Let's move on with the show.
6:02 now, and breaking news at this alert desk this morning. A Hamilton County Corrections officer finds himself on the wrong side of the law. Right now, 26-year-old Jordan Anderson is charged with misdemeanor assault. He's a corrections officer at the Hamilton County Justice Center. According to court documents, he admitted to hitting an inmate with a belt. It all happened on Wednesday.
Here's some news we've all been waiting for. 4 ex-correctional officers sentenced for the death of Robert Brooks. And this has just come in on November 21st. Utica, New York, 4 former Marcy correctional officers were sentenced Friday for their involvement in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks. Quote, "I have never seen so many lives destroyed in a moment," Judge Robert Bauer said at Oneida County Court. Well, the only life that matters is Robert Brooks' life. All those cops and all their family members and all that stuff, they don't even matter at all. Anthony Farina and Nicholas Anzone, who pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter, they were sentenced to 22 years in prison. Michael Marshaw, who pleaded guilty to second-degree manslaughter, received a sentence of 3 to 9 years in prison. David Walters also pleaded guilty to second-degree manslaughter, and he was sentenced to 3 to 7 years in prison. All 4 men declined to speak in court. Brooks' son, Robert Jr., was in the court but didn't speak. All 4 attorneys for the defense would have needed to agree for him to speak. Instead, the prosecution read a prepared statement on his behalf. Okay, and it says, "Last December, I watched as officers beat my father to death on camera. What they took from me and from my family can never be returned or made right. Still, 22 years in prison is a long time, and we are heartened that these officers are facing real accountability, not just a slap on the wrist. To Officers Anzalone and Farina, I pray your loved ones never have to endure the kind of pain I have experienced. All of this could have been avoided if you and your fellow officers just did your job. My dad would be alive. I pray this case teaches others that they can't treat incarcerated people like animals. I pray this case sparks a real conversation about the need for change to the prison system that you are entering, and this time wearing green instead of blue." Okay, that's the last chapter and that story. Thanks for being here, folks. Let's move on.
Hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, my name is Joel. I'm with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. The only reason I'm stopping you is when I was watching over there, you were drifting over that fog line pretty hard. I just want to make sure everything's okay. You got your driver's license on you? It's not going to be a ticket. It's going to be a warning. Hey, I'm going to have you step out and sit in my passenger seat while I do your warning, okay? Thanks a lot, man.
The moment he asked me to get out of my vehicle, I knew right away something was fishy about the entire thing. I've been pulled over a few times in my life for speeding tickets, and that was a very unnatural thing to be requested for a warning violation.
Do you have anything in your vehicle that you're not supposed to have? Okay. All right. Would you allow me to search your vehicle?
Or not.
Okay. So what I'll do is we have a canine pretty close, so I'm going to have a canine come out and do a walk around your vehicle. He's coming up. All right, I see. What's going on? Yeah, so it's off that thing. So I don't want to too much, but this is one of the ones.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to talk to him.
Everything matches or what?
Yeah, well, it's the one that I was looking for. So they've been tracking it.
You have a problem with me running my dog on your vehicle here? It's okay. It's okay? Okay, is there anything that you know that my dog is going to alert on, any narcotics, something like that? No? Okay. All right, man.
I'm going to have you sit in the back seat while I search. I'm not going to put handcuffs on you or nothing, right? But you are detained because of the positive alert. If we don't find nothing in there, then you'll be good to go, man. Okay?
You think you're just driving around, doing your job, doing things with your kids and family, and you find out the government is tracking your location and your whereabouts as you go about your normal life. And they're using this to suggest that a citizen might be doing something wrong.
License plate readers are incredibly powerful surveillance. They are collecting mass amounts of information about who people are, where they go, what they do, and who they know. And then that information is now being weaponized by the federal government to identify, track, and arrest community members.
The night before, I drove down to Parasol, Texas to meet a customer the next morning. Normal day, everything went very well. We left, and I started heading back home to Houston. My route back was up Interstate 35, and I was right at the county line when I was pulled over for Bexar County. We later found out that he was waiting at the county line for me. Before I got pulled over, I was aware of some of the license plate readers. I'd seen them on the side of the road. I never had any direct interaction with them.
So this guy, they've been, yeah, I'll tell you later. A guy called me and said, "Where you at?" And I said, "I'm here." And he's like, "Yeah." So, when I told him, oh, that was awesome. Hey, sir, the back seat, does it come forward on the left side, right? The same as the right? Is there anything up in your sunroof? If I bring it back, is it gonna drop anything? Okay. All right, we're almost done, man. You're gonna be on your way here in a minute. We just gotta, with the positive alert, we have to do a full.
I don't know what alert.
Because unfortunately, yeah, he said he get a hard hit on the driver's side. I don't know.
As it progressed, I became more irritated that he was continuing to ask me questions when there was nothing that came back on my license. There were no warrants for my arrest. There was no evidence to suggest anything nefarious. Watching them struggle to get my kids' car seats out and just being very rough with your possessions and your child's possessions. At the time, I had a 6-week-old baby, and this was the first trip out of town. So I was very conscious of our belongings and how to treat car seats and how important they are. And just watching them mishandle and throw things out when there was clearly no evidence to support their search.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office declined to comment, citing pending litigation. We also reached out to the Border Patrol's parent agency, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and they told us there are policies, laws, and constitutional protections in place to ensure that the license plate reader program operates responsibly and legally. They declined to provide details of its use, citing national security reasons.
Yeah, I'm reviewing the K9. So he's trying to get stopped.
So, and again, this was it was one of those from the app, the Intel stops of and a one-day turnaround. And so what I did to cover my ass in that report, I believe I put, before I said I activated red and blue, I did put in there just in case that ever gets questioned, subsequent to prior knowledge. So,
Your cover stop,
it had PC, but just in case they say, well, he was being targeted or anything, I didn't lie. I didn't not put something in there to show that it was an Intel thing. Because I knowing that it was one of those, I was very careful on that stop.
Traveling inside the state of Texas is not illegal. It's not illegal to drive from one city to another and back the next day.
Where our cars are is where we are. Where our cars are is where our family is. Where our cars are is what we're doing and who we're doing it with. These surveillance systems do not make communities safer. They make community members more threatened.
This problem is only going to get worse and worse. I'd like to see this be illegal for proactive policing. These databases, if they exist, need to be locked down. It shouldn't be a free-for-all on all the citizens' personal data. I used to think if you're not hiding anything, you have nothing to be worried about. If you didn't do anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. And now I know that even if you did nothing wrong, you still have something to worry about.
Okay, sir. We're done.
Do we have time for one more? I think we have time for one more. This is a Glenn County officer who's been arrested for disorderly conduct after property damage incident at apartment complex. He looks like a Tasmanian devil. Let's find out what happened. The Glenn County Police Department alleges that Officer John L. D. Leggett, age 25, was involved in the incident at the Odyssey Lake Apartments. Okay, Leggett, what'd you do, buddy? Glenn County officer was arrested Thursday following a property damage incident at an apartment complex in Brunswick, according to the Glenn County Police Department. In a release, GCPD said officers responded to a report of property damage at the Odyssey Lake Apartments. What did he do? Okay, located there and there. It was about 4:40 p.m. Upon their arrival, GCPD said officers determined Officer John L.D. Leggett, age 25, was involved in the incident. GCPD said Major Crimes Unit then responded to the scene and continued the investigation. As a result of the investigation, the police department said Leggett was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor. Whoa, charged with a misdemeanor. Leggett has been placed on administrative leave without pay. Wow, that's interesting. The outcome of the investigation, oh, well, since they're not telling us nothing, I guess it's really not all that interesting, is it? Well, he looks like a Tasmanian devil. He's a bad apple, and he made it on the Bad Apple Report. And we're going to end the show with him. Thank you so much for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report with me every day right here at home on the range. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you later.